Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. I'm Benji Messer, music director. I use he, him pronouns. Our band today includes Connie Yarmarkt, Karen Quinn, Sebastian Hoskins, and Christian Macy. You're in for a treat today. Our service on being Unitarian Universalist is presented by the youth in our coming of age class, which is our middle school age class. Yeah, that's right. We'll start with our monthly hymn for November, Love Will Guide Us, by Sally Rogers. Please rise in body or spirit. Please remain standing for our chalice lighting.
Good morning. I'm Isabel. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm one of your worship leaders today. Today we will be focusing on things that are familiar to us as UU youth, the strings that weave our community together. We start with the word covenant. A covenant is an agreement about who and how we want to be together. Join me as we recite our covenant and Jonas lights our chalice. If you're watching remotely and have a chalice with you, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant. Please be seated.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. My name is Gianna. My pronouns are she and her, and it's an honor to serve as one of your worship leaders today. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for time. One that is
theologically
diverse,
radically
inclusive, and justice-centered. If you're new here, we are so glad you found us. If you're new here, we are so glad you found us. Would you be willing to wave so we can see who you are?
Say, if you're new here, would you be willing to wave? If you're new here, would you be willing to wave so we can see who you are? Ooh, lots of new faces.
Welcome. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. Here at UUCP, we put our missions into action when we discover together what it means to be human. We have a few announcements this morning. Next weekend is our Christmas Carol trip, in which on December 3rd, make a holiday card, a gift to hope. Please stay and seekers.
The sanctuary after service.
The sanctuary after service to make holiday cards for
Asylum seekers
who are held in detention centers in Arizona. Your card will likely be the only gift from outside that the person receives this season. And now we'll make our bowl sing, inviting to draw you deeper into the present moment and deeper into our beloved community.
Good job. Our opening words to begin our sacred time are from Erica Hewitt and inspired by Reverend Elizabeth Wynn's chapter, Our Work for Social Justice in the Unitarian Universalist Pocket Guide.
To be a Unitarian Universalist. To be a Unitarian Universalist means we'll never be done with the work of telling the truth about oppression, the work of resisting any laws, policies, or practices that deny anyone their humanity, the work of stubbornly seeking out the spark of the divine each other, no matter what, the work of creating heaven on earth.
To be a Unitarian Universalist also means we're not alone in the work. We are not alone because of our promises to love one another. We are not alone because we are companions on the journey. We grow ourselves into allies, helping one another get free, because none of us is truly free until we are all free. I now invite anyone who would like to come forward for Together Time.
We especially want to invite anyone whose bodies might get wiggly. This is a good time to come wiggle among other wigglers. You'll have some more chances this service to do that, but just know this is an absolute friendly place to come sit on the floor.
I'm going to tell you a story. The theme of this story includes two comfort words, universalism and love. Universalism is the idea that no one person or being is destined for a more special or more terrible afterlife. Love is our connection to one another, the energy in community.
Wait, before we start the story, we need a volunteer. Someone who's willing to stand up here and maybe not mind getting mushed around a bit. Oh, Johnny, thank you. Yay. We're gonna have you stand right here. You're gonna play the main character, which I know you often do.
Over 200 years ago, in a small house in a small town, on the edge of a forest of very big trees in the state of New Hampshire, there lived a small boy. His name was Hosea Ballou. Hosea was always asking questions about what and why and how. Hosea liked all sorts of games to play, and spring was Hosea's favorite season because in the spring it would rain and rain and rain, and then Hosea could jump into the mud. Hosea loved mud. He liked it when it was soft and squishy, and he liked it when it was thick and sticky. If it didn't rain quite enough, that wasn't a problem. Hosea would carry water to the dirt and create glorious mud puddles all on his own. He liked to jump in the puddles hard with both feet and make the muddy water splash really high, so that the mud splattered all over his brothers' and sisters' clothes. He loved to step in puddles very slowly, so the mud oozed up just a little bit at a time between his toes. Yes, Hosea loved mud. Not everyone in this family liked mud quite as much as Hosea did. His sister, who did laundry and scrubbed the family's dirty clothes in big wash tubs, didn't like having to scrub all that mud off of Hosea's clothes, or off of anyone else's clothes either, and Hosea had stomped in a mud puddle extra hard. His other sister, who kept the little children clean, didn't like having to scrub all that mud off of Hosea, and Hosea didn't like having baths either, especially when it meant he had to stand in a wash tub in front of the fire and have water dumped over his head. But his sisters loved him, so they took him home and washed him and dried him and made him clean. Then Hosea's sisters went to their father and said, "Father, please tell Hosea to stop playing in the mud." "Hosea," said his father very sternly, "you should not play in the mud." "Why?" asked Hosea. "Because," said his father, who was one of the preachers in the Baptist church the family went to, "just as we try to live a good life, to be kind to others, and to follow God's plan, we try to stay clean." "Yes, Father," Hosea said, and after that day, he did try to stay clean. But it wasn't easy. He stopped stomping in the mud puddles on purpose and splashing the muddy water everywhere, and then he stopped making enormous mud pies. But sometimes the mud was just there. Then he had to walk through the mud to get across the yard to gather eggs from the chickens. He had to walk in the mud to feed the pigs, and sometimes, when he was already muddy from doing his chores, he played in the mud, just a little bit, and got even muddier. His sisters, who loved him, took him home and washed and dried him and made him all clean. But Hosea's sisters went to their father again and said, "Father, please tell Hosea to stop playing in the mud." "Hosea," said his father even more sternly, "you must not play in the mud." "Yes, Father," Hosea said. He was sad, but he had truly tried not to get muddy, most of the time anyways. "Are you angry with me, Father?" "I am disappointed in you, and I am a little angry with you." Hosea hung his head and kicked at the dirt with his toes, and then he dared to look up, just a little, to ask, "Do you still love me?" "Hosea," said his father, and his father didn't sound stern anymore. "I will always love you, Hosea, no matter what you do. Even if I get muddy again? Yes. Even if I get really, really muddy? Yes. Even if I get mud all the way up to my eyebrows and between my fingers and toes and even my hair? Even then," his father said with a smile. Then he added, very sternly again, "But remember, Hosea, you must try to stay clean." "I'll remember, and I'll try," Hosea promised, and he did. He stayed clean, most of the time anyway. As he grew up, he stopped liking mud quite so much, but he still liked to ask questions about how and why. "Father," Hosea asked when he was a teenager, "how can it be that our church believes that God will only let in 1,000 people into heaven, and even many of those 1,000 people lead good lives?" His father didn't have an answer for that question. "Father," Hosea asked, "if I had the power to create a living creature, and if I knew that creature would have a miserable life, would suffer and die, and then go to hell and then be miserable forever, and I went ahead and created it anyway, would that be a good or bad thing? And would I be good or bad?" His father didn't have an answer for that question either. Hosea had to find out his own answers, so he read the Bible, a book with many stories about religious people and about God. He went to some Universalist churches and asked even more questions there. At the age of 19, Hosea decided that he believed in universal salvation, which is the idea that everyone, everywhere in the universe will be given salvation. Eventually, everyone will be saved from hell. And not only did Hosea believe that God would let more than 1,000 people into heaven, Hosea believed God would eventually let everyone into heaven, good and bad. "How can you believe that?" asked his father. "How can you believe God would only let bad people into heaven?" "Because, Father, I remember what you told me when I was small. I believe that even if God is disappointed with people or a little angry with them, God will always love them and want them to be happy, no matter what they do and no matter how muddy they are."
I'm Katie Resendez, and I'm the Director of Children's Ministry here at UUC Phoenix. Thank you. Each week, we practice generosity. Generosity in listening careful when people are taking their first time at the mic, generosity of spirit and happy and welcoming faces, and other types of generosity as well. We practice generosity by splitting our offering plate with UUCP and a local organization that shares our value. Generosity is an important value to our community. We give so that we are part of the whole. We give so that we can receive. Generosity is the joy and connection we find through sharing, giving, and receiving. For the final week of November 2023, our Share the Plate partner is Desert Star Family Planning. The mission of Desert Star Family Planning is to promote the health and well-being of their patients and community by providing just, dignified, and exceptional care. They are a steadfast resource for comprehensive family planning and sexual health care. Our Share the Plate team chose them for November because their mission directly connects to the petitions that we're collecting for safe and legal abortions at the back of the sanctuary. For all that you give, we are so grateful. Ushers, thank you for helping us pass the plate. Each week, we share the joys and sorrows with the community. Whether you come here with laughter or tears in your heart, all of you matters. If you're on Zoom and you'd like to share a joy or sorrow, please type into the chat a brief note about what is in your heart today. If you're in the sanctuary, you have the opportunity to fill out a joy and sorrow card located at the table at the start of service when you participate next week. It's that table back there. As we open this sacred time to share our joys and sorrows, let us center ourselves with a moment of stillness and silence. Terry Torrey shares a joy. I am happy that after nearly 7 weeks in multiple hospitals and rehab facilities, battling blood clots in his lungs, 2 bouts of pneumonia, and a heart attack, my father is finally at home and doing well. Definitely share. Samantha shares that she has been going through a difficult time with family and stress, as many of us find at this time of year, and she feels that she's at a very low point and is seeking positivity. And we send you so much love and positivity, Samantha. Sylvia Sharma, abuela, shares a joy that her grandson Dylan celebrated his 11th birthday yesterday. And Donna Talbot shares that her family has a new pet. They adopted a new puppy from the Maricopa County Animal Shelter. For all of these candles of community, we send our love. Let us send our love to one another. We can make heart shapes, and if you, there we go. And I promise you only have to listen to me for a tiny bit more, and we'll let them get back on the mic, okay? Today I'm going to share a meditation that is a little bit complicated, and it involves directions and instructions. And it was designed by these 3 fabulous young women up here with some help from some other youth. But I'm going to present it because there might be questions, and let's be honest, sometimes y'all do a better job of listening to me than to them. We're working on it, but we want to make sure we get to meditate together. It feels so good to be in tender, loving presence of one another. So let us soften into the here and now in a spirit of meditation and prayer. Today, we will practice finding a meditative space in singing together. But the very first thing I ask you to do is that everyone take a moment to find a new place to be. We would like everyone to be facing different directions. So it might mean moving your chair and turning and facing a different wall. It might mean staring at the ceiling. It might mean standing up and going to one of the outside walls or the middle of the sanctuary or the steps or the couches. Find a different place in the space. We want to spread our energy out so we can share it with one another. Feel free to shift one seat over, find yourself standing, put your body in a new place. And now, that's fine, we are going to sing again and again a song that is familiar to the youth of UUCP. And by the time we are done with it, it will be familiar to all of you as well. Please relax and settle into this present moment. Relax. Thank you. Let the voices of others carry you, and let your voice add strongly to the ocean. As we continue singing, hear individual voices, hear the solid single voice that rises from us. Come, feel the song coming around you. Feel yourself sending it out. We'll sing through 2 more times. Bring your voice. Come. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, and amen. Now, before you go back to your seats, you will find the coming of age students who have already dispersed, and I've lost them. They're somewhere. Oh, they're back there. They will be seated in amongst you all with big posters, and those posters are going to serve as our community reflection today. I will tell you more about that in a second, but if you find a teenager holding a poster next to you, please make room for them as you find yourself in your new space. And we'll turn our attention to the musicians. What? Oh, we're gonna do the reflection first, sorry. Sometimes we make mistakes, and that's totally okay. Okay, find yourself in your seats. Our teenagers will disperse themselves, and because we have a few more posters than we have kids, I might ask a few of you to help out. So, the teens are coming towards you with signs. That does mean that you're going to have to turn and face them and engage in conversation with them. But I have 2 options for you. The first is to talk to them, and they have a question on their board, and help them figure out your answer to the question. How are you answering it? The other thing that you have an option to do, you should have gotten stickers, little dots, when you came in. There is a yes-no board over there that asks very similar questions and questions of the same nature, that we would like you to put up your yes or no answer to each of those questions by placing a dot under which one applies to you. These are questions that have come up over the past few weeks in coming of age class. You should not be surprised that middle schoolers have very big questions. So we ask you to dive a little bit deep as you consider them, and I'm going to show you where each of them are. Eliza is over here. Isabel is over here in the middle. Bunny is a pretend teenager. And Gianna is over here. So if we would take about 5 minutes to approach each of them and engage in a conversation as our community reflection. Thank you. For those of you on Zoom, I'm going to give you question prompts as well. The questions include, what happens when you die? Do heaven and hell exist? Is there more than one universe? Do animals have souls? What is a soul? Is there an afterlife? And what does it feel like to be in the afterlife? Do bad people exist? What is divinity? How does your community show that they know you? And when do you find it to be hard work to show love? We're going to take about 2 more minutes. Begin to find a good stopping point. And know that we will keep the posters available after service if you want to add thoughts. And with that, I will call the coming of age students back to the chancel. And as you return to your seats, we will turn our attention to the musicians.
When I was a boy, each week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. And he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread. And everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is that everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even bigger magic trick is that anything is here at all. And so the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, I could barely wet my fingertips, but now I gotta hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. Now I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. And see another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be. This morning outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head as I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then, and everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. Now I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Hi, I'm Eliza Torrey, and I'm UU. I've been going here since I was born, and I'm here today to tell you about what being UU means. UU stands for Unitarian Universalism. UUs don't have to have the same religion to be UU. They just have shared values. That's the definition of UU, but sometimes a definition is boring and doesn't show the experience. So here's my experience being UU. Ever since I was little, I've always felt like I had a place here. I remember going with my parents and they would sign me up for whatever class was that day, and I remember seeing the coming of age kids and thinking they were so big and so much older than me. But now I'm in coming of age and I'm almost 13. To me, being UU means community. It's kind of like that quote, "It takes a village," because everybody works together to make the service. The people that come here to listen to the service and the people that make the service and activities happen are always so nice to me and caring towards everyone. Being UU also means being welcoming. I've been to a few different congregations and they've all welcomed me to their services and activities. And when I did my first overnight here, I barely knew anyone, but everyone was so nice and welcomed me into coming of age. In conclusion, and in my experience, being UU is great, coming of age is fun, and I rate it 5 stars.
As you can tell, each of the kiddos here finds their own voice in this congregation and also knows that the voices that call back to them are for them as well. We have been talking about that as finding your thread in the tapestry. How do your colors line up with the rest of the colors of our community? And we've also talked about it as finding your song. What is the song your community sings to you? How do you know it's yours? And to reflect a little bit about that is someone who sings to us with the band some Sundays, but this week she was in Louisiana and sent us a video anyway. So we'll turn our attention to the cameras to see a little bit from Penelope Davis.
Hello, my name is Penelope Davis. I will be talking about how it is to be UU outside of being in a UU church. So being UU is strange when I'm out because randomly stuff has connections. Like for the Pride Parade, a little bit ago, I don't know how long ago it was, but for the Pride Parade, I went with my best friends, and we were at the Pride Parade. We, for some reason, saw other people from our school, and they came over, and we were just having a really crazy time. And then I saw the Reverend there, and I was like, whoa, my family's in the Pride Parade. That was cool. Another thing that's a big part of me is king cake parties for Mardi Gras. We have this thing where we put a king cake baby in a king cake. We have parties and we get the king cake baby. But I took a step back and I realized that everybody who does it is UU. We don't do any religious practices. We don't do anything that has to do with religion. It's just a little community that we have. And we hang out with each other. We all come together and we just eat cake and we have fun. And that's the way that the UU has been a part of my life, is learning. It has built a lot of skill on how to get along with others, how to make a community, and that's really helpful. But the community has more had a part on me, where it's like my family, they help me get through some stuff. They are really supportive. They're always there for me, and that's really nice to know that, like, if something's not going well with school or anywhere besides the church, there's a community that will always be with me. And that for me is a humongous, like, it helps me know that, like, this doesn't matter right now. And if I'm thinking something bad about myself, that it's nice to know that a community will always be there for me. Another thing that the UU has taught me is how to interact and get along with people with different beliefs. For example, where am I right now for Thanksgiving? I'm in Louisiana. My whole family is not UU. But I know how to interact with all of them and how to not be like start up a conversation about how their religion's wrong and how their beliefs are not right, because that doesn't matter. Like, they're my family. But they've helped me when it comes to those situations. So that's really what UU's taught me.
Big thanks to the youth in our Coming of Age program for putting on this service. Our closing hymn is You Are Not Alone. It's a new song that I've been introducing to the congregation just a few times, including to our youth. It's by my friend Mindy Dillard. It starts with the chorus, and we'll do that chorus a few times up front, well, twice up front, so that you can listen the first time and join in the second time if you haven't ever heard it before.
We reached the end of our We reached the end of our service. Please consider spending a little time today connecting with each other. Today's afternoon activities are listed on the screen behind me. Today's closing words are from
Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson.
And are included the words of Jordan and poem for South African woman, which she presented at the UN on August 9th, 1978. I can do it. Fitting for this day, we are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Go in peace, go in love.